Loving them dance moves, aren't you? What's going on, friends and family? Thank you so much for tuning into Every Day is a Saturday with your host, me, myself, and I, Brian Roof. I want to start off, guys, by thanking you, yes, you, for tuning in and watching the show. I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to watch this show. And if you guys have been watching me from the start or, as a recent, and you've been watching a lot of my clips, you guys can probably see that I've kind of come a little bit further as I've been going. I've started off, originally on just audio. Then I was, a big goal of mine was to go over to the video side. So trying the video side, it has been kind of a challenge, I would say, in terms of at least having guests on and doing the whole video thing. I was using this one software, and it just wasn't really working out very well. Unfortunately, I had my last guest. We started recording and it just kept cutting off on us. And it was the first time any of that had happened throughout all the different guests I had. And I just, man, I was feeling horrible. And, we tried to make it work, and he tried to go through it and make it work, but we ended up having to reschedule. And what a horrible time. That was probably one of my biggest guests that I've had on in terms of popularity. So, gosh, I felt super embarrassed. But at least for me, he's a cool guy, and he's very forgiving, and he understands. So we will have a reschedule on that. So up and coming, you guys will be seeing a pretty cool interview. I'm not going to give away his name just yet because I want to make sure that we definitely record before I mention his name. But I do have some awesome guests coming up, and they all just happen to be Marines. But I'm definitely not just interviewing Marines. I'm interviewing everybody. If you got a great story and you want to come on here and tell your stories, come on out. And I'm definitely looking for female veterans, especially. I would love to have a lady on here who's willing to tell her story. You don't have to be some combat hero or nothing crazy. We just love to hear about your experiences and your stories while you're in and see where you're at today. And who knows, maybe you can inspire someone out there to join or learn from your own stories. But anyways, guys, today we're going to go ahead and this episode is episode 18, Adjusting to Life After the Marines. All right, so the last episode, I kind of went and shared some of the cool memorabilia that I had from the years that I served from 2000 to 2004. If you hadn't had the chance, go back and check that out. Pretty cool. I have a lot of cool things that I have kept, especially, from boot camp. But the episode prior to that was kind of me, getting out of the Marine Corps. And I didn't really get to talk about all my experiences as I was getting ready to get out. So this episode right here is, my experiences after I got out of the Marine Corps and what life was like for me after the being in the Marines. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get into it. Stand by.
My name is Jason Rhodes. I've been the owner of a successful remodeling company for 3 years. I've dedicated 85% of the profit from that business to remodeling homes for disabled veterans and first responders completely for free. I have created a nonprofit 501c3 to assist in continuing this work. I am on a mission to bring awareness to the need and to raise money by walking 1,400 miles from Sanford, North Carolina to Austin, Texas. Please visit renovet.org to learn how you can help. That's renovet.org.
All right, friends and fam, let's go ahead and get in today's episode 18, Adjusting to Life After the Marines. All right, guys, so right before I was actually getting ready to get out of the Marines, I went home to go hang out with, actually I didn't go to hang out with buddies. I just actually went home for the weekend. It was a Friday night. I just had gotten into town. And driving from Camp Pendleton to where I lived, there was just always nasty traffic on the on the 5. I got to take the 5 pretty much all the way from San Diego to where I lived, and then I catch another freeway from there. So it's just hella traffic. By the time I get home that Friday night, I'm kind of just like burnt out. Don't really want to do nothing. Well, I got some pretty persistent buddies that I went to high school with, and of course I'm chilling. And one of my buddies calls me and invites me out, and I'm like, "Oh man, I don't really want to go out." He's like, "Come on, bro, just come on, man." So I haven't seen you in a minute, dude. So I'm like, "All right." So go ahead and meet my buddy out at the club. And I mean, when I say club, probably more like a bar type club. Where I live, there's no good type of clubs. It's just a small town club. Anyhow, so go in there, drinking a little bit, hanging out. He had some friends with him. There was this one girl with him, and she kind of wanted to dance with me here and there. We danced and chit chatted. Yeah, not really thinking much of it. Um, it's about time to leave for me. I'm kind of at the point where I'm ready to go home, so I go out to my truck, and as I'm in my truck and I'm actually getting ready to pull off, out comes running the girl that I kind of been dancing with, and I'm just like, "Hey, what's going on?" She's like, "Hey, really would love to hang out with you more often, and see if we can hang out after another time." And I'm just like, "Well, I'm in the Marine Corps, and I'm stationed down at Camp Pendleton. I do come up here on the weekends. Maybe we can hang out." So I went ahead and I took her number, and I wasn't really used to girls coming and being very persistent and giving out their numbers. A lot of times, it's us asking them. So I thought that was crazy. So, anyways, go about my business, and her and I kind of hit it off, and it's kind of the timing is kind of crazy because I'm on the verge of getting ready to get out. Um, so when I get out, I don't want to move back at home. So I get in contact with a good buddy of mine. He was like one of my bestest friends through high school, and I met him in 8th grade football. Uh, but we just hit it off. Always were good friends. Always, thought it would be cool to live together. So, boom, we get our opportunity to live together. Him and I get an apartment. I had an interview over at this place called Northrop Grumman, which is an aerospace company. My stepmom had worked there, so she had kind of hooked me up with this whole interview. Um, I go in for my interview. I get interviewed by a Marine who is his boss is a Marine, and he's like a Vietnam veteran. So of course he's got a lot of stories and stuff like that. And a lot of my interview basically was just us talking about our stories and our time in the Marine Corps. So after that, I was kind of, oh man, I don't know if I got the job or not, but you know, uh, lo and behold, I did get the phone call, and I got an offer which was making $18.50 an hour back in 2004. That was kind of quite a bit of money to be made, and for me, coming straight out of the military, getting paid bi-weekly, I thought, 1850, hell yeah, that's like a great pay to start off with. I was super excited. So I went ahead, definitely took the job. And the job that I actually took was in the receiving department. And my job there was to receive all the incoming parts for the different projects that Northrop Grumman does in the aerospace industry. Some of them are, top secret type projects. Some of them are, normal stuff. But some of you guys may be familiar with the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. Very cool plane. It's got 3 different variants. Um, but anyhow, I was super ecstatic to, get myself a job, because that's kind of one of the biggest things that, as any military member knows, when you're getting ready to get out, the next step is like, okay, what next? What am I going to do now? And a lot of jobs that you go for, and you want to try to make a decent wage, they're looking for some kind of experience. Well, a lot of times what you did in the military doesn't really necessarily translate to when you get out and go back into the civilian world and you want to go get a job. They're just like, well, that's great that you did this, but we need you for this. So, when you're choosing your MOS, and you're going forward, and this is for anybody who's thinking about joining the military. When you go to choose your MOS, think about when you get out as well. So, when you go in there, don't just go in there gung ho and, oh yeah, I want to do this. You think about what your future is going to be like afterwards. If you think maybe you're going to be a lifer, well then there's your opportunities. But if you think it's just something you want to go do to get yourself established, learn some responsibility, become a man, get away from your parents or woman, whatever, get away from having your parents take care of you and get that sense of independence. It's definitely a great thing to do. But anyhow, Northrop Grumman, it is it was a great place, a great opportunity for me to work. Coming out of the military straight off the jump, and having a girlfriend, getting a new place with my best friend, getting into a new job, and then on top of all this, like I'm because when I get out, I'm like just like headstrong on, I want to do all this stuff. I want to play football again. I want to coach. I want to get my education. I want a good job. I mean, I just wanted everything. And I'm just a pretty ambitious person when it comes to certain things. So, here I am, freshly out, got a girlfriend, got my apartment, got the job now. Now that I got that all secured, I'm like, I'm starting to go back to the gym and stuff. I run into some old coaches that I used to coach with, that actually I'm not coached with, I'm sorry. They coached me back in 8th grade, and now they're coaching at the same high school that I graduated from. So I'm like, oh, dude, get to chit chat with them. They're like, hey, would you like to come coach? And I'm just like, well, my gosh, hell yeah, I would love to coach. So there's my first opportunity of getting to go coach football. And, here I am going and adding more to my plate because at this time I'm already, working. I go and I find a semi-pro football team and I decide, oh yeah, let me go jump on and play for these guys. And I'm just like really starting to, stress myself out and max myself out. And here I am, with a new girlfriend. And oh, by the way, I get her pregnant real quick. So, I mean, man, everything for me is just like, it's like, get your own place, live with your best friend, get a job, play semi-pro football, start coaching freshman football. I mean, boom. And it's like, oh, now, a baby's on the way. And so now I'm just like in a whole, finding out that I'm going to have a baby kind of throws a huge wrench into several things that I got going on. Here I am like, oh my gosh, you're pregnant. We've been dating, I say probably, man, couple months. It had not been long before I found out that I got her pregnant. So here we are. I have to go back. I'm telling my buddy, my best friend, and I'm like, damn, bro. I'm like, I know we haven't lived together long, dude. Here we are under a lease, and I'm just like, bro, I got this girl pregnant, and he could have stayed. He definitely could have stayed, but at this point in time, he's kind of like, hey man, maybe I should just move out. Maybe you need to have her move in. I'm like, all right, bro. I mean, I hate to see you go, and it kind of sucks, but I kind of saw, yeah, I mean, definitely now that I got my girlfriend pregnant, going to be hanging out with her a lot more. She's going to be over a lot more. Him and I ain't going to be able to hang out and do all the things we, we dreamed of and thought we would do. So, he ends up moving out. Um, she ends up moving in, and she had a daughter at the time already, and her daughter was 3 at the time. Her daughter's dad wasn't really a part of her life, um, and as I was, first coming into her life, it was like kind of like the dad was just kind of, starting to abandon her more and more, and so it was kind of a unique situation. And I don't know, man. I think I had that, save a person mentality when I came out. And, I'm also, um, I've been out in the Middle East for a long period of time. I'm just, my head isn't right. I honestly, one thing I will say is that looking back on it now, I think I tried to consume way too much when I first got out of the military. I try to do way too much, and I think that was just trying for me to not deal with things or process things, just from being over in the Middle East. So I don't think I had any business at the time getting myself into a relationship and trying to be a dad and all those things. um I know, looking back at it now, I just wasn't ready for all that stuff. And here I am. I should have really got out, did the things I really wanted to do, and find out that those things were, just things I wanted to do, and they weren't very, um I don't know, they weren't very rewarding or whatever. It was just something I wanted to do because I had missed out the opportunity while I was in the Marines. Um, so I don't know. I think looking back at it as an adult, I wish I probably would have took my time and not rushed into things. I know if I could tell my what was I, 23-year-old self now at 42, I would be like, bro, you need to pump the brakes, relax yourself. There's plenty of fish out in the sea, so to speak. You don't need to just rush and go marry and get the first girl you see pregnant, and I wish I could go back and tell myself that, but it's not a horrible thing. I did get 2 beautiful kids out of the situation, and um I really did try to, make things work. But like I said, I think at the time when my ex wife and myself met, we were both. She was trying to, figure herself out. She had not lived, like a party life and things like that. Me, I had partied my ass off. I, I I was at a level of like I kind of wanted to settle down. She was more at a level of like I want to go out and go, you know, party and um, we just had 2 different visions. So I think you know we weren't at a good spot to go further in our marriage, but we went ahead and got married and tried to make the whole thing work. My daughter, she's the oldest, and and my son. I do have a daughter and a son with her. They're about a year and 9 months apart from each other, um, so they're very close in age. But man, I tell you, the whole thing that pretty much ended up happening is I went home. It was like a Mother's Day weekend. Her and I, my ex and I, had been separated. Kind of, we were trying to work on our marriage. I was staying at my sister and brother in law's. I had the kids. She didn't really want the kids over Mother's Day weekend. So it's like the day after Mother's Day. I want to say it was a Monday. I wake up. I'm at my sister's house. I just had this really bad feeling, and we lived down the street from my sister and brother-in-law's house. I had this real weird gut feeling when I woke up that next morning, and I just didn't feel right. My son was sleeping. in the same room as me. He had been up, so I didn't want to leave him behind when I got in the car, and I decided I'm going to go over to my old house because, like I said, I had just some weird feeling. So I get to my old house. I walk in, and things just don't seem right. You could it has a really bad feeling. I left my son in the car, by the way, um, in the driveway, and so I go in, and as I'm walking to the master bedroom door, it's closed, and I'm like, all right. So I go to it, and I go to try to open it, and it's locked, and I'm like, okay, she's locked the door. She's probably, sleeping here by herself. She's probably scared. So, as I go to tap, like, go do a couple taps on the door, and she's like, what do you want? What do you want, Ryan? And I can like hear wrestling, and I was like, what do you mean? What do you want? I said I want in my bedroom, and she's like, well, you can't come in here. I'm busy, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you're not busy. I was like, who's in there with you? And she's like, none of your business. And I'm like, yeah, it is my business. This is my house. And so, as she's saying that, she kind of cracks the door, and I just boom slam the door open. She's kind of half dressed, wearing like some undergarments and stuff like that, and I see like stuff on the side table, and I'm like, hey, what the fuck's going on here? And all of a sudden, here comes this little dude, pops his head out, comes out of the bathroom, and I'm like, who the fuck are you, man? And I'm like, dude, bro, you got about fucking 3 seconds to get out of my house before I kick your ass. And I mean, I'm telling you right now, I couldn't react the way that I really wanted to react because I had a job that had a tight security clearance, couldn't get myself in any type of trouble. So, the better part of me, the more the grounded person on this side of the shoulder is like, hey man, don't go fucking doing anything. If you do something, you're gonna ruin your career. The other part of me is just like, go kill this son of a bitch, you know, cave his face in and all this stuff. And I'm trying to, also the other part of me is trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to necessarily blame him, for her stupidity. So I tell that dude, get the fuck out of my house. And he kind of is like, no disrespect, man. I was like, get the fuck out of my house, bro. And I don't want to hear a fucking another word from you. So guy turns around, he's walking out the door, and like I said, it took every fucking fiber in my body not to floor this kid. So I look at her, and I just like, I about call her every name in the book about how much of a dirty whore she is, and I can't believe that she would fucking do that to the family. We got family photos in the room and all this stuff. I mean, she didn't even take none of that stuff down as she's sitting here doing this, dude. And I'm just like, wow. So come to find out, well, I won't. I'll tell you guys the details. But all right. So, anyways, I'm fucking pissed. I tell her, you know what? You don't even deserve to live in this house anymore. I said, you should get your shit and get the fuck out of here. You disrespected this house. And so she's like feeling guilty at this point in time. Like, all right, okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get my stuff and don't go doing nothing stupid. And it's like, you don't fucking worry about me no more. And so I get in the vehicle, and I do have my son in the car, and but at this point in time, I have lost my fucking head. I have lost my head. I'm trying to keep my composure the best I can and stay sound as I can, because once again, don't want to lose my job. It was, my the way I made my living and the way I was going to survive. There's just no way I could lose that. So I get in the vehicle, I take off driving. I see this little homeboy. He's fucking walking through the desert. I come rolling up next to homeboy, and I'm like, hey, bro, did you know she was married? And he's like, nah, man, and he's just trying to tell me all this bullshit. And like, how long you been talking to her? And he's like, oh, it's been a couple months. And I'm just like, haha, wow. And I was like, how do you know her? Come to find out, dude, this guy is a fucking student at a continuation school that she worked at. So homeboy was a failure in high school and is going to the school that she worked as an administrative assistant. And come to find out, yeah, she's fucking screwing homeboy. So I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, hey man, she's got 3 kids and all that, and I'm like, how are you gonna take care of 3 kids? And I was like, what do you even do for a living? He's like, I'm an entertainer. And I'm like, what do you mean you're an entertainer? He's like, I rap. And I'm like, wow. I said, hey man, I think you're gonna have to try to find something bigger and better to do in your life. I don't, I wouldn't recommend sitting there saying that that's how you're gonna go make a living. But anyways, I pretty much told dude like he needs to stay the f away from my kids, or I'm gonna be, all up in his fucking face, and he doesn't want nothing to do with that. So I end up taking off from that dumbass kid, and spin out whatever. I'm fucking so pissed, man. So I'm like, I got to keep my composure. I got my little dude in the car. My son, he's my oldest son now. But I have him in the car. So I'm driving back over to my sister and brother-in-law's house. And they're everybody's kind of waking up, and my sister's in there, and I'm just like, I'm losing it at this point in time. I broke down. I lost it. I just was like thinking, oh my gosh, my world is completely over now. I thought we were definitely, trying to make everything work. And here she is, fucking off the whole time. We're trying to make it work. So, man, I was pretty devastated. I loved being a part of my kids' everyday life. So I knew that, man, things were going to change, and they weren't going to change for the good, because I myself was, a product of, being from a divorced family. So, I knew that it really wasn't a great situation for me, and my kids, because divorce is never a good thing. I mean, you rarely see a divorce that worked out great. I mean, I know there's some that are out there, but 99.5% of them, I promise you, are pretty much hell from the start to the time your kids are adults. And there's hopefully at some point in time you find some kind of a common ground. I ain't gonna lie, man. It's been like, I don't know, over 10 years or more, and my oldest daughter, she's an adult now, so don't have to really deal with her. But I still deal with issues with my son, who just turned 17. So we're kind of on our last leg of those kind of, divorce issues. And I mean, things have gotten better. Could they always be better? Absolutely. But it has been an absolute nightmare. And I'm unfortunately glad to see that my kids are getting to be adults, and we're almost done with the heartache and the anxiety that comes with dealing with a divorced parent. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and stop right here. But before I go, I just want to make sure everyone out there, it's probably a good opportunity to do a little bit of a head check. If, you're having a hard mindset, or, your mindset's not in the right spot, make sure you reach out to someone, a friend, family, coworker, someone that's, maybe going through something related to what you're going through, and maybe can help you through it. I promise you, talking it out sometimes it does help. And you just got to make sure you're kind of talking to the right person, and someone who's going to positively enforce you and not help you go down more of the path that you're already headed down. And also, if you don't want to talk to someone, and you want to keep it discreet, there's 988, and you press 1, and you're going to talk to someone who can possibly talk to you and keep it discreet, and you don't have to share that information with anybody else. But I really hope everyone's doing well. I, hate to see anybody, hurt themselves unnecessarily. So please reach out to someone you love, say hi, make sure they're doing well. And I hope everyone out there is doing well. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Till now, take care.